Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Thor Ragnarok 2-pack, which contains Thor and Valkyrie. And the first time we reviewed a Thor from this movie, it was kind of a not great figure. I mean, there was some stuff that was really good about it, but overall it was kind of like, I don't really need this figure. This one, I think, remedies some of those problems, so that's a good thing. And then, of course, this is the first time we're looking at Valkyrie, so that's a good thing. So let's go ahead and get these guys off the stand so that we can take a closer look. This guy stands just about 7¼ inches tall, which makes him really tall, which makes him just about 18 centimeters, maybe even a little bit higher than that. And we'll go ahead and do Valkyrie real quick, get the height part out of the way. She stands about 16½ to the top of her head, not counting that little bit of hair, and that makes her about 6½ inches. So you can see them next to each other. He's definitely taller than her. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about Thor first. Paint job on this guy, pretty damn good. He's got a lot of the markings throughout the side here, which is done really well. You see the red on the shoulder, the chest, the belt there, the belt down here, all the way down the leg. It's really clean, really solid. It could have easily been too transparent, and I think they did a really good job with that, so that's nice. There's nice paintwork throughout. You can see they painted the buckle on the back here. Lots of little details throughout the belt and whatever you call this, side panels. I don't know what that is, but that's there. We also have a little bit of a wash going on. The gold paintwork up here is nice. There's a little bit of brown in there. The boots, or at least these wraps around the boots, are actually brown with a wash on them. Just very nice, appealing figure overall. They did a decent job painting the wrist thingies. And then there's the face, which I think it's the best Chris Hemsworth face. It doesn't look exactly like him, especially from the front, but as you pose it around, there are a lot of the features are right. They might not be arranged perfectly well, but it's pretty darn close. I think the biggest detractor here is the heaviness of the beard and the hair itself being a little bit too coiffed, but overall it's a really nice likeness for a Marvel Legends figure, and I'm perfectly okay with it. And the paint job is pretty solid. There's a little bit of shading on it going on in the hair too, so yeah, overall it's a pretty solid piece. The cape can still be removed. It doesn't come off as easily as it did the first time, so that's really nice. If you want to take this piece off, you can. Shoulder pad is connected to the bicep, so you can rotate the arm around, no problem at all. That's good. I guess I should probably save that for the articulation part. So let's go ahead and talk about accessories. We already mentioned the cape. We do have some interchangeable hands. We have 2 gripping hands and 2 jazz hands, which is really nice. And then we do get the sword. I guess that's Heimdall's sword. It's sculpted really well, but painted terribly. It looks like garbage. And then we have this lightning accessory, which is very, very cool. Very pleased to get a lightning accessory for Thor. And that's it for the accessories for him, which I think that's enough. I don't think we need those 2 little swords like we got the first time. They're kind of goofy looking, and he barely used them anyway. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this. So let's go ahead and run the articulation. The head, when you lean it back, pops right off, and it's weird because the head's like a softer material than we're used to. It goes on and off the peg very easily, which isn't necessarily a problem. Just be aware if you lean it back, you could just pop it right off. The other good thing is mine was warped in the package, so his face was like totally smushed, but because it's a soft plastic, it's very easy to just warm up and fix, so that's good. I just noticed something. Because of the way they painted the face, which looks decent, the skin tone everywhere else doesn't quite match. It's not readily apparent, but if you're looking for it, you'll notice it. But either way, we get full range forward and back, side to side, a little bit of attitude, so that's fine. I already mentioned this a little bit, but you get decent range out of the shoulder, but you don't get to raise it too far up. This side, no problem at all. This side is mostly just because of the way the shoulder itself is designed. The shoulder pad thing right here can just kind of be flexed, so as long as you're willing to mush this up a little bit, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. The rotation's fine, except for the fact that this is V-shaped, so just be aware of that. Bicep swivel's fine, double jointed elbows, no problem. The wrists all swivel, of course, and the open hands have a hinge this way, which is good, that's how it should be. And then the sword gripping hands have the hinge this way, which is kind of hard to show you because they're kind of recessed in there too far. But they have the vertical joint, which is perfect for somebody holding a sword, so they really did a good job with that. The ab crunch, not great. 1 notch back, it's not sculpted inside, and you get some holes in there, so that's really not good. Going forward, only 1 notch forward, still kind of only halfway sculpted. Pretty lousy ab crunch. Waist twist is fine. Belt thingy doesn't really want to go anywhere. You can flex it, but it's going to limit the hips to a little bit of a degree. Still pretty good range, though, especially for Marvel Legends. A lot of them these days don't have that much range, so it's pretty good. Going forwards, not too bad. Going back a little bit, too. Thigh swivels are fine. Double jointed knees, a little bit blocky. Not the best range, but good enough. I mean, he doesn't need to be doing calisthenics or anything. Foot goes pretty far back. Pretty not so far forward unless you really force it, and then it's still not that far, so pretty limiting. And then you have an ankle rocker, which is kind of a severe angle. So it's not a perfect figure by any means, but I think it's the best. Let me think back for a second. Off the top of my head, I think this is the best movie Thor. I could be wrong about that. I don't have them all memorized because I'm not personally a big fan of the movie figures, even though objectively they're almost all done really, really well. I don't know, I like the comic designs more, but this is a really solid version of Thor, so I definitely recommend it for that purpose. Let's go ahead and take a look at, I'll put that on later, let's take a look at Valkyrie. Much like Thor, the paint job is pretty darn good. There's a lot of paint going on just about everywhere, and it's all pretty clean. I don't need to point out every little bit, or this video is going to take forever, but lots of line work going on throughout. The buckles and things are all painted. Her little sword, dagger, not sword, daggers, just daggers. They're painted nicely. They are separate sculpts, but they are not removable. Pretty nice looking figure overall. The likeness, I feel like the sculpt is pretty good. The paint, it's not bad. The eyes are a little derpy, but otherwise it's pretty good. I think it's okay. I liked her in the movie, and then I saw Westworld, even though I'm a little bit behind, and I hate her now. But it's a pretty good likeness. I just saw her on TV last night, and it's not bad. It'll definitely do. As far as her accessories go, we just get her little blue sword, which is pretty cool looking. And I guess it's kind of an aqua or teal. I think teal. But it's pretty well done. And then we also have the scabbard for it, which is very well sculpted and painted. Both are warped severely from the packaging, but you can fix that with a little bit of hot water. As far as the articulation on this figure goes, the hair is soft-ish. Not completely, though, so it's going to get in the way a little bit, but technically you can lean the head back, and it does work pretty well. No real problem there. And you can lean it forward, and you can rotate it, and there's a little bit of play, but almost none on that ball peg. And that's because the head sits properly, and they didn't really account for that. But I'm willing to sacrifice that extra attitude posing just for a head that sits on the neck the way it's supposed to. So that's really nice. As far as the shoulders go, all the way up, no issue at all on that side. This side's a little bit different of a sculpt, still no problem. Full rotation other than, of course, where that bumps into it. So you have to just account for it. No big deal there. No bicep swivel, and not quite 90 degrees out of the elbow. But you can rotate it. But again, that's not a good rotation because of how that elbow is designed. So you're a little bit limited there. For the wrists, not the right kind of hinge. I don't know why they did that. They made new hands for her, and then they put the wrong kind of hinge on it for holding a sword. So that's a little bit weird. Same on this side. They just did the right thing for Thor and did the wrong thing for her. What the heck? What the heck, Hasbro? Why you do this? And then for the diaphragm joint, it's okay. She's not... It's kind of a weird sculpt. It's like they... I don't know. It's really broad across the chest. It's a little bit strange. But I think once you pose her, it won't be too bad. It does lean side to side. Pretty good amount. Rotation's okay, forward and back. Yeah, it's a pretty good diaphragm joint. Floating belt, that's not going to get in the way. These pieces are fairly soft, so let's see. Yeah, the hips go pretty wide. No problem with that. Going forward, on that side, it's kind of limited. It's limited by the hip itself, not by the skirt piece. It's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great. Going back is almost not possible at all. Thigh swivel's fine. Double jointed knees. Not as good as they could be, but good enough. And then for the ankle, really, really good ankle. All the way forward, all the way back. Ankle rocker. Yeah, no problem. So, I mean, it's not a perfect figure, but it's still pretty solid. If you're into movie figures, then I don't see how you could not want to get this 2-pack. And it was a discount 2-pack at Target for me, so maybe you guys will have the same kind of luck. But, yeah, if you're into the movie figures, these guys are some of the better ones we've seen, so I definitely have to recommend them. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and even if you didn't. And in the meantime, keep collecting.